Hello, everybody. My name is Jaboon, and welcome to episode 10 of the You'll Have That podcast. I'm here with Wasip and Twisted today. I'm here for another episode. And I know I was absent last episode. I died, but I came back. We had a little bit of a, I died of ligma, came back from the hospital. We're all good.
You were
But
number
yeah,
one.
I was number one. I was like Smitty, Werben, Jägerman, Jensen.
Exactly.
We have a couple of interesting topics to talk about today since, the gaming industry does not want to give us a break when it comes to interesting things or, catastrophic events. And I guess the best way to start it would be to talk about something that you guys kind of wanted my take on from the last episode. If my camera would stop fucking around. What
Right.
was it? The good old Sweet Baby Inc. drama that's still happening. So let's talk about that. My whole thing with Sweet Baby, which I don't know how much you guys looked into it at all. Um, just the practices from the company were absolutely terrible, despicable, even going as far as to try and get somebody's Steam account banned for just having a differing opinion or labeling, what games were covered by Sweet Baby or had like
And their
their
involvement.
involvement. Yeah, it's just how do you say you're supposed to be someone who's like for like the betterment of the gaming industry, yet you want to sit there and go on a witch hunt and get the people who are on your side to go and take down somebody's, hard, account that they've spent years on. That's just doesn't that go against like the entire thing that your company is trying to promote, which is like equality or some stupid shit?
And
That's
that's
just
something that I also like last time I kind of figured is that they're very Hippocratic. There's a lot of Hippocratic behavior, you know.
yeah. And I don't know if you knew about this, you might have, but did you see like where the one of their was it, like team members went to like a Discord trying to get people's like opinions on Sweet Baby or whatever? And yeah,
Oh.
so like they went into a Discord that was like I think it was like actually connected to the Sweet Baby Inc. like detected Steam
Hmm.
group,
Okay.
and it was like a game. It was a games journalist. Sorry, it was a games journalist. I don't remember her exact name off the top of my head right now, but I
Mm-hmm.
believe she worked for Kotaku. So
Hmm.
that already says a lot. But she went into this Discord. She had her, her name and her face and everything on her Discord,
Mm-hmm.
and was trying to ask people like, oh, what's the deal with Sweet Baby Inc. And then she said something along the lines of, "It's kind of strange how you guys don't have your faces and actual names attached to your account on here. Like,
Well, usually you
what the
don't in
fuck? You,
Discord. It's
you
meant,
don't
you
online
know.
anyways. It's not like these people are, game journalists and critics like you. These people are entitled to their anonymity.
Right. Exactly.
It's I don't know. That's just crazy to me, dude. First, you have Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, doing that with consumers and trying to get somebody pretty much canceled on Steam, which Steam pretty much said, "Fuck you, that's not happening." Which
Yes. Yeah.
thank you, Valve. Thank you.
For
I
real, that
appreciate
was a
that.
very good
That
move
was
on
that was
Valve.
that was a Chad move. You do nothing like always, and you still do everything right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you have the games journalists all trying to jump to Sweet Baby's side, saying that, oh, they're the ones in the right here, or gamers are missing the point. Like, no, these people just want brownie points and want to jump on, that SJW crap again. And it's a
Yeah.
shame because it could have been a really interesting, thing to talk about for these critics and journalists, but no, they want to just follow the oh, let's go join the communities and all that and try and get the good, get the brownie points.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up. I think SBI is a pseudo kind of cause. It's not really doing anything that's beneficial. It's more or less just. I mean, all the games they work on, you can tell like it's very forced. It's not natural. It's very like in your face. Um, I know there's a few games that recently are starting to come out that SBI is involved in, and all of them don't have like a male white protagonist. It has to be an African American female, or a female. Like, and it's not so much the fact that I pay attention to that because I could care less. Um, but it just you can tell like it's very forced.
Right.
It sometimes it's even out of place. And I'm all for equality. Obviously, I'm not racist or anything like that, of course. But the moment you start hyper focusing on these things, you're almost damaging it more because you are contributing to the racism because you're dividing the color rather than being a person, being an individual. You're looking at them based on their color. You have to fit this demographic. and I just don't think that's the right way to go about it. I think that's a very cheap move on SBI's behalf, Street Baby Inc. And I think it's just a pseudo cause. It's a false sort of like, you know, a false kind of like, I don't even know what to call it really. Like they're trying to do something that's clearly not really in the best interest of everyone. Um,
Hmm.
it's akin to like a witch hunt, if you will, sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I didn't know about the whole Discord Kotaku thing. That's
No,
again,
it's crazy, man. It's just
are
like
they really that out of touch? Like, are they that out of touch?
exactly like how deep is this gonna go? Like how much are you gonna miss the mark? And it seems like all like these game journalists and devs and even just these companies that are for equality are doing. Was it I saw the other day? It was a video by IGN, and it's a little off topic, but bear with me. I'm gonna kind of loop around back into the main topic of just
Oh, by
like
all
the whole
means, yeah, go
equality
ahead.
bullcrap.
Hmm.
It's I saw that IGN had made a video about Resident Evil 5, which if you guys have played Resident Evil 5, you know it takes place in Africa, right? IGN, some wise guy at IGN who made this, video, they were, saying that Resident Evil 5 would not be able to be remade. It would have to be rewritten because of racism. And I don't know about y'all, but when I played Resident Evil 5 back in 2008, 2009, just because it took place in Africa didn't make it racist. I think one of the
Exactly.
top comments on that video actually was, "I'm a racist, and I can confirm that this game is not racist." So
Oh
it's
wow.
like, I don't know, man. It just makes you wonder, like, how hard do people have to think into just old games or culture, or just anything in general,
Yeah,
to try and find like that one little bone, to get that one little bone to just chew on. And
absolutely.
it's so far fetched. Like, how many times are you going to do this with video games and things in the industry? And it keeps happening. That's the problem. Like, a lot of these things aren't done for like the betterment of games, like you
Oh
said
no,
earlier.
absolutely
It's
not. Yeah.
completely forced
Yep.
to the game's detriment almost every time. And that's my main problem with it. I'm gonna tell you all now, anybody who's watching the podcast or any, the people that are for the rights and everything on Twitter, I don't care if your game. I am myself. I don't care, right? I don't care about your skin tone. I don't care about any, agenda or whatever. That's not my focus when I'm playing a video game. And I think if anything, that you pushing that agenda and stereotype in a video game is hard. That is a detriment because it's trying to it's trying to solve a problem that's not even there.
Exactly.
And I
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
and it's there's no like, why do you need representation in almost every media? That's my problem. I don't want that. I want to be able to come home and play a game and forget about the real world and the real world issues. And when you try to
Exactly.
promote that kind of thing and try to say that, oh, there's a huge problem of, misogyny or, racism and all these things in games, that just, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And the longer you guys keep trying to push that agenda, no one's going to side with you because it's pointless. If you want representation and if you want to like go do that, that's fine. But don't go and try and mess with things that are already written, like Sweet Baby Inc. does.
It's the wrong platform sort of thing.
It's the wrong platform to try and push your message. That's the whole
Absolutely.
problem. This is an entertainment media that is meant to get people away from those problems. And you pushing your agenda into these distributable medias is only going to worsen that, because then people are going to be even more angry about it. Nobody wants
Yeah.
that shit shoved down their throat. Stop.
Very, very well said. Yeah. Twiz, do you have anything else to add here as well? I mean, you've been quiet here.
I said everything I needed to say last week.
Twiz is just like, let him cook, let him cook.
You are indeed cooking. Everything you said pretty much right, nail on the head. I mean, absolutely. Video games are more of an escapism thing. People want to, as you said, they want to escape the real world harshes and kind of go into that alternate reality, whether it be Resident Evil with zombies or Mario. I don't know, like
Final
anything.
Fantasy, anything.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's
exactly.
honestly kind of like how you said back in, I think it was like episode 3 or so, where we were trying, talking about advertisements and how those are getting like kind of pushed into
Yeah,
games.
yeah,
Are we slowly moving towards just like, fantasy being an actual fantasy? Like, are we going to be able to get away from the real world in our actual video games and just like be able to detach and immerse ourselves away from real life problems
exactly.
and
Absolutely.
just the world in general?
I don't know if it's gonna be
So, Sweet
possible the
Baby
way
Inc.
things looking.
Sweet Baby Inc. Look, I get it. Not the way to do it though. That's all I gotta say. That's all you have to hear from me. We'll swig to that. But anyway,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a disgusting company, and as I said before, I absolutely do not support that company. I'd go on to be even like probably boycotting a lot of the games they're involved with because it just ruins the game. It really does. The story gets mangled. It's just it loses the whole game loses its identity to push an agenda that no one wants down their throats when they're playing a game. So yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Nobody wants a forced character. Nobody wants a story rewrite because of one thing that might, offend or upset 1% of the, the fan base.
Yeah.
That's just, again, it's like what we just said. It's trying to solve a problem that's not there. It's like back in 2016 when Overwatch came out and they changed that tracer pose because one person's father was upset about it.
Exactly.
Like, you can't just keep doing things for the minority. If you keep doing things for me, not the minority, but just for the people that they're never going to be satisfied no matter what you give them.
Exactly. And these people honestly probably don't even play the game.
Exactly. They don't buy the game. They watch some dude play it on YouTube. Like, they're not going to buy your game anyways. The only time they're going to buy the game is so that way they can say that, oh, they support it and let it gather dust on their fucking shelf.
Absolutely. And, I actually kind of want to draw similarities to World of Warcraft in the sense that, World of Warcraft right now is turned into something that it's very far away from the classic, right? And I feel like it's become that because they've pandered so hard to like the top 1% raiders that, anyone that's trying to get into World of Warcraft today, it's almost impossible. There's so much that you have to do. There's so much that you have to learn. I mean, you literally have to watch almost an hour-long video before you even attempt a boss. Like, how far have we come from original World of Warcraft, or even like, ICC, right? Like even then,
yeah, ICC was the peak.
Yeah, like you could just go into the raid, you could try it. Sure you'll wipe, of course, right? But it's not so strict, so elite. There's so much elitism when you're killing off your game by doing that. You're literally taking all the people, the majority, which is not your 1% raiders, and you're alienating them. Really, you have these requirements where someone that just got into the game, they need like 3,000 hours to have all these achievements that you're asking. Well, not specifically, but you know what I'm talking about. Like you're comparing
100%.
them to people that have played this game for years and years and years. And why? Well, like, I understand that you have a limited amount of time or you want to get this raid done, sure. But is that really the right way to go about it? Is it really fair to ask for the world and more, pretty much, to do just a normal raid? And then you look at LFR, right? Which, I mean, I guess it kind of solves that problem. But the incentives,
really.
The incentives aren't there. You get garbage rewards. So sure, you
and
can.
If you want to get the actual good stuff, you have to go play with people who are 9 times out of 10 awful fucking people. I hate to say that about the WoW community today, but they're absolutely some awful fucking people.
Oh yeah, I mean, you
and
got
I used
people
to play
that
WoW all the fucking time.
Me too. Me and Twiz actually. I think Twiz also played, right?
We're all WoW heads here. We all played WoW back in the good days, the good days, and a little bit of probably even a little bit of the newer days, but not enough to really want to play.
Yeah, but this behavior of like you wipe once and then you got someone giving you death threats in PM, right? And
get him out of the lobby.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, just that mentality it ruined the game. It's not in the process of ruining it. It has ruined it. It's beyond like you need literally like 16 add-ons to even do a normal raid now, and you have to link your whole entire career portfolio on WoW to get invited.
You have to have a resume on your raids.
I quit playing during Legion.
Legion was probably the last expansion I had fun playing.
Agreed, same.
And
yeah.
The raids were good. I liked how it gave like an incentive for casuals to play.
Yeah.
But I remember back in the day, dude, when we used to laugh about wiping. I remember when it was like just a vibe. We would laugh if we got our ass kicked by Arthas. And now it's like if you even wipe on a dungeon boss,
that's it, done.
that's it, man. You never coming back. You might as well go buy a realm transfer, bro.
That is, yeah. I mean, it truly is like that. And there's something called parses now. I don't know. I don't remember if you guys played when that was a thing, but essentially
Parses?
parses. Yeah, it's so you know how there's like add-ons that can track your raid progress, your DPS, stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
now people are asking for parses, right? Before you even get invited to the raid, you have to have like a top parse, meaning that you did like top DPS or you're top healer in that raid or whatever. And this sort of like heavy, like judged and everything you do. It honestly it takes all the fun out of the game. It makes it into a job.
It makes it into a fucking full-time job.
Exactly.
It's like playing Destiny. It's why are you gatekeeping people out of a raid?
And you both know I refuse to play any game that feels like a job to me.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
mean, the only game that I could say that was like good in that manner and it's not a job is Deep Rock Galactic. Shameless, little plug.
Oh yeah.
But
love that
great
game.
community,
Such a good game. Yeah.
good game. Really brings back the good old days.
I will say,
I feel
yeah,
like gaming culture has just become like worse too. It's kind of fueled that flame. I think like gaming as a culture, like people wise, the best way to put it is just it's not what it was like 10 years ago. I mean, don't be wrong, like 10, 20 years ago. We had your MW2 lobbies, which I don't know if anybody
on Xbox, yeah.
On Xbox, that one earpiece headset. I see Twist smiling like a motherfucker over here. He knows what's up. Look, man, y'all want to get offended over shit or like not offended, but if y'all think like what these people in WoW these days are saying, man, y'all should have been in a fucking MW2 lobby. It was a mess. But that aside,
but that was also all in fun.
I
heard some of the best ruthless fucking insults in an MW2 lobby that I had ever heard in my entire life, and it was great.
Look, man, when some dude calls you gay, then hits the fattest guitar riff ever in an MW2 search and destroy lobby, that's the best night of your life.
And that's the thing, though. Like, when people did that, the next lobby you're in, completely different people, completely different minds. Like, everything's different.
Exactly.
Well, back then,
not in the sense.
Back then, they didn't disband lobbies and stuff.
Oh,
so you could either stay in said lobby or you could go to a new one. And that was the thing, is if you didn't like what somebody was saying in a lobby, back out, go to a new one.
You had the option, right?
That or just fucking mute them.
Or that, yeah.
Or that. There's a mute button for a reason. But no. Everybody's feelings these days get hurt way too easy, in my opinion. And then the state of WoW, like you guys were saying, is pretty crazy. WoW hasn't been fun for quite a long time. I do have hope now that they've released their battle royale version of WoW. That seems to kind of put everybody back onto an even playing field. It sucks that it's taking a battle royale to do, because the PvE aspect of WoW is now pretty much taken out.
Both.
Because it's a battle royale.
Yeah.
So it's mainly just PvP now. But, maybe this will get the developers to kind of take a step back from what they've been doing in the most recent expansions and stuff. So,
well, the thing is like they've been so hyper focused on the world first race, for example, the raiding world first, right? They gotta make these raids so difficult that you have to have like 16 add-ons. You gotta have a custom programmer to do your add-ons.
Well, that's why I'm of the same mind as Asman. I think that all add-ons should
absolutely
just be taken out.
And the ability to track data from the game should be disabled. You should not have a DPS meter, all that, because that reinforces elitism.
If your game has an issue, then the developers should take it upon themselves to fix that issue instead of
the community
waiting for basically an unpaid intern to fix that issue in the form of an add-on. I think that is the most egregious, laziest shit I have ever seen in my entire life. And I thought the same thing when I played WoW many years ago. Uh, we'll see.
And
It
oh, sorry, go ahead.
doesn't help that, a good majority of these world first players for World of Warcraft are like Eric Cartman from the WoW skit, pretty much. It's
Yeah.
like they don't get up and do anything else. They're either buying gold, which I mean, some of them might, some of them don't. Don't get me wrong, it's kind of a far fetched
Or
part,
selling it,
take or selling it even. But it's just, I feel like WoW has become, like you guys said, a full time job and purely like a competition onto who can do what first, or purely damage numbers. It's not like the fun game back in the day,
Exactly.
and that's not what an MMO is. It's not an MMO anymore. But as Twist said, hopefully, maybe with them, doing the whole battle royale, even though it looks kind of okay, it just looks like a lot bigger battlegrounds. That's what it looks like, a bigger battlegrounds.
Everyone's on the same playing field, sort of thing. Yeah.
Which,
my
I mean, there's
only
nothing wrong with that.
complaint about the battle royale for World of Warcraft is you designed it for people that's not playing / paying for a subscription, but you're charging the subscription. So how many players are you actually gonna get to pay for
Right.
that subscription and come back and try just the battle royale?
That's true.
Personally, I think that it should be free.
Yeah, same.
Or
Every other battle royale is free, so yeah, why not?
or free for like the first 6 months, 7 months, see how it does. If it does really well and people are, really liking it, then they can make the decision as to whether or not they're going to pay for its subscription or not. But to charge $15 a month subscription to play your battle royale when all battle royales are notoriously known to be free to play, I think is a little
Blizzard like.
yeah.
Well, Blizzard, I mean, I agree, but I think
It makes you tilt your head and say, huh.
And there's a battle pass. So there is a battle pass with this, just so you guys know.
Oh wow, so you're paying for a subscription and a battle pass now.
I don't know if I don't think the battle pass is paid. It's just included with the thing. I don't know.
Does it give you cosmetics for like the actual like WoW game?
Yes, it gives you a title, amount. I don't think it gives you like a armor set. I might be wrong though. But yeah.
I'll say y'all at least better be giving me my mount, man. Like,
right.
What the hell?
Right. No, it does. And the problem that I see with the raiding issue is they focus so heavily on releasing these raids, and for the 1%, the world first raiders, right? And these people, that's their job. Literally, their job is to play World of Warcraft competitively and raid for the first week. It is the most unentertaining thing to watch to me. Now, I understand some people might enjoy that, but to me, it just doesn't. It's not entertaining whatsoever. But besides the point, when you have to nerf a boss, Blizzard as a developer has failed in their job. They've overtuned the boss. They haven't made that boss fight correctly. They've failed on that job. And when it's becoming the norm now, to where these bosses after a week or so, or after the world first race is over and all that, they get nerfed so other people can actually kill them. When it's a normal thing, a normal occurrence, it tells you that they're just not developing the game correctly. I don't know if they've lost how to do it. I'm not sure.
It's that they're doing it on purpose. It could be that too. Maybe
that's what I'm thinking.
They're trying to like over tune it for like that first week.
Yeah.
Purely for those 1%ers, which terrible fucking idea if that's what you're doing, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I don't get like why you have to focus so much on the people who make the game pretty much look not fun to play. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I can watch Asmongold do a raid with McConnell. That shit's fucking funny.
Yeah.
That shit's what a WoW raid. That's what a WoW raid should be. It's just,
You all right, man?
You having a stroke there?
Pretty much. But it's
you having a McConnell?
I'm having a McConnell. Shut up. It's just, that's actual fun. Like, you see two dudes who are just having a good time, even if they wipe or get their asses handed to them. When you watch these people doing their world first, all you hear is their fucking keyboard sitting there going,
No. And it's like 8,000 different sounds like, come here, little girl.
And they say going,
Yeah, it's just like, what the hell
Like,
am I
come on
watching?
now, dude.
Well,
Like,
it's
am
like
I?
Asman said, you're basically paying $15 a month to go to Guantanamo Bay, be a terrorist that's subjected
A prisoner of
to
war.
torture
Yeah.
Prisoner of
POI.
war.
Yeah.
because
Wow. I
you're
mean,
playing these random sounds for 16 hours a day.
exactly. And it's like you don't really see them interacting with their chat, which of course they're not going to.
Yeah,
It's
no.
they're focused. They're so hyper focused on the game and that freaking world first. And we saw that with Destiny as well, which another game that's like a full time job, which is a full time job. It's just
I am so good on that game.
you and me both. You and me both.
I
I'll
hate
join
that
in and
game
say,
with a
yeah,
passion.
same. I don't know why. Like, okay, I do think I know why they do this, and I think it's because they do make a lot of money on sponsors and all that for the world first race. I think it's like they make this out to be a huge event, right? And you know, it's almost like an esports thing, kind of, if you will. Um, and an MMO should never, ever, ever have esports anything. It's an MMO.
I
You
agree.
don't ever play an
PvP
MMO
regardless. No,
to
it
be
shouldn't.
competitive, right? You don't. It's just not how it works. There are games where you can be competitive. Okay, Valorant, yeah, you can be competitive. You can have tournaments and stuff in Valorant. You know, CS:GO, yeah, you can be competitive, sure. But an MMO, it's an MMO. Like, what are you talking about? Like, competitive. Yeah, I don't know. I think
Friendly
it's
competition's fine. I will say that. Like having, just
yeah,
leaderboards and stuff and achievements,
sure,
that is completely fine. But when it's to the point where your servers are getting fucked every time a new raid comes out because people are so desperate on getting that world first and your dungeon is buggy as hell, I'm good, man. I'm good. When the focus is purely that one group of people that gets it every time,
yeah.
I'm good. It's not fun to do.
When you focus so much on the 1%, you forget about the 99, and that's what's happened. It's happened for numerous expansions now, and I'm hoping maybe if they see that this whole WoW battle royale, it's called, like, I think Plunder or something. Um, you know, it's kind of what Asmongold's been saying WoW needed, which is kind of like a reset, a whole WoW 2. The game is hyperinflated. There's just too much, way too much content, way too much just everything. You have like 40 spells for each class. It's just too much. And I think with the Plunder, the season of Plunder or whatever they called it, I think with that where everyone starts out with nothing, it's just base 0. You get a few spells and that's it. That kind of shows people like, wow, this is fun again. You know, this I don't have to spend like almost 40, 50 hours a week to be actually competitive and play a game. So
Right.
yeah, I hopefully they do see that. Like Twiz said, I really hope they learn from this, and maybe WoW 2 can come out. You know, that'd be great. Or like a reset or something. I don't know.
Just anything, man.
Yeah,
But hey, maybe like you guys say, maybe this will be a step in the right direction. Maybe it'll be them, listening and really giving all they got to make something, good and fixing what they needing to fix for years.
exactly,
But,
exactly.
speaking of developers fixing what they need to fix, have you all heard about the Apex Legends incident lately with ALCS or ALGS, whatever it's called?
I
The
have heard a
regionals.
little bit. Yeah, there's like a remote webhook hack thing that they can do, and a couple streamers doing your tournament, I think, got well, I guess free cheats live on stream, right?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, who are listening in the podcast, or even Twiz, anybody here, ALGS, whatever it's called, it's been a bit since I've played Apex.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like like the Fortnite Championship Cups and all that, like the Fortnite Cups, which the whole big big playoffs, big season, everything for the pro players. And you had Jen Burton and Imperial Howl, which are some of the best players in the world, playing for the. I'm pretty sure it was like the finale, pretty much like them getting into like the big games to go play on stage. And they were playing, and all of a sudden you see on Jen Burton playing, he has hacks like injected into his game, which anybody knows Jen Burton, he's not a fucking hacker. He's a guy who's played for years, and if anything, he's killed more hackers than he's probably wanted to cheat. He has no reason to cheat. He's killed a cheater. So
Yeah.
um but yeah, so what happened was he was playing, and all of a sudden, he has aimbot and a mod menu on his game, and it gets typed in chat like the two hackers' names that made like the injection, and he's like, "Oh, I have cheats. I have cheats. I'm hacked. I can't play." And he leaves the game immediately. And then Imperial Hell also just randomly got aimbot
Is that his
out of
teammate or
nowhere.
something, or?
No, they're on two different
Oh,
player
okay.
teams,
Okay,
but
gotcha.
they're the ones that like, we actually had the videos of if you watched it at all.
Okay. Yeah, I did,
And
yeah.
this is through like an RC exploit, which I'm sure you know what an RC exploit is. But for those who don't know, pretty much it's like I believe it's like a remote code exploit, which people can it's pretty much access to your computer. They're injecting stuff into your computer, which is exactly what happened here.
Mhm.
Nobody knows. Like people are still looking into this. Even Respawn, Easy Anti Cheat. A lot of people said it was Easy Anti Cheat's fault, but they said, "Oh, we're confident that it's not like our anti cheat." Which, knowing EAC, I mean, it's not very likely, but at the same time, I wouldn't have my fingers crossed.
I think
But
I thought they said that it was a 15-year-old that did it or something. I
it
heard
was
that.
like I'm pretty sure it was a 15-year-old or something, but it was like one or two people, and they said that it was purely through the Apex client, I think, or like through
Mm,
Apex, and it wasn't like any like modded clients or anything like that.
gotcha. Okay.
So something happened in the Apex code, and maybe it's like an issue with the source engine, maybe it's an issue with Easy Anti Cheat, or the connection with the servers. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But for them to get hacked while they're playing in actual like pro tournaments
Yeah,
and
that's
have
crazy.
cheats injected while they play, something's got to be going on with Apex, and I'm hoping that it's no other game that's going on with it. But that's fucking scary to think about.
Oh yeah,
So what do you
absolutely.
guys think?
I think it's insane.
That I've never seen anything like that. That's why I was like, wow.
Same. I do know that I think one of them did a scan on their computer and found that there was some sort of virus or something. Not maybe not a virus, but some rootkit or something. So it wasn't isolated. Like you said, it wasn't isolated to one person. Um, I've heard of RC hacks and stuff like that. Like you said, it's pretty scary because they can essentially do remote code. They can inject code, and as we saw, that's exactly what happened. They injected these cheats, and it popped on the screen. For those of you that didn't see the stream, it actually popped up on the player's screen for a second, and it said that aimbot and something. And yeah, dude was like, I have cheats, what's going on? And I commend him to maintain maintain the integrity of the match. He kind of just left the match so that way he didn't have cheats, because he could see where everyone was. He had wall hacks as well enabled. So he just left, and I assume the other person kind of the same thing happened.
Yeah,
Most
they both
likely.
did the same thing pretty much.
Yeah, which is
And
commendable. Definitely commendable. But in the end, I think EA just outright paused the whole tournament because of that.
yeah, it's postponed
Okay.
right now.
Yeah. Mhm.
And when they did the hacking too, like I said, it said in the chat, like it said like ALGS like hacks or like cheats by Destroyer something and the other guy. So they had their names there too. So EA could definitely find these guys if they try hard enough.
Yeah, for sure. It is kind of frightening. I've heard kind of numerous things, if you will. I did hear that it was an easy anti-cheat issue, and then I also heard that it was something within Apex itself. I personally, I'm not sure. But either way, if I was an Apex, I did play Apex for a little bit. It's not my kind of thing. I didn't really enjoy it too much. But if I was someone that played Apex a lot, I would probably wait right now until they patch that, because it is a very serious exploit. They can do way more than just put hacks on your computer. If it's a remote code,
Exactly. I was gonna say that these
yeah,
people have access to your whole computer. These guys did probably the most tame thing possible.
I would
They could
definitely
have put a
say so.
crypto,
Yeah.
they could have put like like a ransomware on these people's computers, anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
just that, they could move this shit onto a different drive in your computer too.
Right.
So even if you do a clean install Windows, you're gonna have to go clean out all your drives. And at that point, a lot of people would just buy a new computer. So this is very serious, and this is probably like the best case scenario these guys could have done for just like even if it has ALGS on postpone, these guys could have had their computers bricked or personal information stolen. So to anybody who's been playing Apex Legends in like the past 2-3 weeks or even a month, I'd be making sure that you change all your passwords like right away. Thankfully, I haven't touched that game in a long time, so I don't have to do that. But for your
Same, yeah.
safety,
Mhm.
I've
turn
never
off
played
auto
it.
login because that'll save, that saves not cookies, but it saves
Your
like,
token,
hash stuff,
your
your
token,
token
your
on
authentication
and stuff like
token.
that.
Yeah.
That saves your authentication token and your passwords even on your computer. So they can have access to that if you do run into one of these hackers that knows how to do that. So just be careful, guys. This is a very serious, very serious thing going on right now out of nowhere. I am still very surprised that it happened out of all the times this time.
Yeah,
But
I
this had
mean,
to be going on for a while.
right, and to be honest, a platform that's so like out there, you can tell that whoever this hacker was definitely trying to make it a public thing, right? Which I guess is a gift and a curse in the sense that it forces EA to kind of be like, okay, we gotta really take this seriously, but at the same time, it also shows everyone like, hey, these exist, be careful. Um, yeah, it is interesting, but I don't know if it's easy anti-cheat. If it is, that's a really huge issue because a lot of games do use easy anti-cheat. It's kind of one of the industry standards. It's one of the major ones.
I doubt that it is, to be honest.
I'm gonna also say I doubt
Because
it.
if it was easy anti-cheat, we would see this way more broad than just one game.
That's actually a good point too. I mean, we haven't heard about it from like Rainbow Six, for example. There's like a lot of
Fortnite.
games that use it, but you know what I'm talking about. Like you just
Fortnite.
haven't.
Yeah.
Fortnite, yeah, Fortnite. You haven't heard anything from Fortnite about that, yeah.
I mean, personally, I think that it's Apex's garbage coding. Period.
Let's hope that's all that it is.
Yeah,
That's what I have my fingers crossed for.
Definitely hoping it's an isolated thing, and EA can get that fixed pretty quickly. Because I mean, if I was that what's his name again? Whatever the contestant was.
Jen Burton? Jen Burton.
Yeah, if I was Jen Burton, I'd be pretty disheartened because these people they practice for so long to be able to compete in that tournament and having it ripped away from you, that is very disheartening. So it's sad to see. But on another topic of gaming, something that just recently happened, I believe, actually, like a few days now. It's Dragon's Dogma 2. Boy, oh boy, do we have things to talk about with that one.
I shed a tear every time I hear about this one. Has anybody here played the original Dragon's Dogma? Anybody at all?
I have not. No.
It was a pretty good game. I liked it.
I have heard it is a really good game, yeah.
But Capcom, it's a shame because I think I think we can all agree, Capcom has had a lot of W's lately. They had Resident Evil 4 remake, they had, good old Monster Hunter. They've done a lot lately.
They've also increased the salaries of their workers recently too.
Maybe them increasing the salaries of their workers is the reason why Dragon's Dogma 2 has had as many controversial problems as it has had.
I don't know, but they kind of pulled a fast one on us here. So all the reviewers essentially and all the pre-release, like all the people that were doing reviews, IGN and etc., all of them, were either instructed not to say anything or were just given a version of the game that didn't have any microtransactions. And then all of a sudden, as soon as this game comes out, not only is the performance hot garbage, you have to pay to change your character's appearance or respec. I mean, you have to pay for teleportation early in the game. There's literally, I think, over $42 worth of DLC that on launch was with the game. So yeah, they definitely pulled a fast one. Didn't hear anything.
You said $140 worth of DLC?
No, I said 42.
42.
I was just saying,
yeah, no,
that's still bad. I mean,
still $42
on a $70
on a $70 game is
single
quite
player
expensive.
game. Single player.
Still, I'm fucking glad I've never played any Dragon's Dogma, and I'm damn sure glad I didn't want to play Dragon's Dogma 2. This kind of makes me think back to the whole Yakuza scandal.
With the good old fucking
you have to,
New Game Plus
yeah,
behind, $20 or deluxe edition. This whole situation, man, is quite literally the meme they had us in the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
It literally is.
Literally,
honestly.
they had us in the first half. just you have the bad performance in towns and all that launch, which granted that can always change with a day one patch. But to lock things like just as simple as changing, was it your
Respecting.
character, respecting your character
If you
behind
delete your character save file, it literally will ban you. Denuvo will ban you.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Why they're I mean, aside from greed, it makes absolutely no sense to have people's saves be on an online thing for a single player game.
I
This
can
is
tell
meant to
you
be enjoyed solo, bro.
exactly why they did this. The microtransactions they're selling.
They gotta get that moolah, man. They gotta get that moolah.
Exactly. So Twiz, just to kind of get your perspective here, this is a single player game. Dragon's Dogma 1 had every microtransaction they're selling you. It had it included in the base game. So this is a single player game. It's $70, $69.99. And there's $42 of DLC, which most of it, if not all of it, is based it is things in the game that should just be in the game. You're only allowed one save, by the way. One save, that's it. You cannot have more.
But do you have to pay for more save slots?
I don't even know if they offer more save slots, to be quite honest with you. I'm not sure.
I was gonna say, man, if we're paying for more save slots, that's fucked up.
Glad I wasn't wanting to play it, and I damn sure won't play it now.
All I gotta say is
that. It's a
about this
single
game, man.
player game, bro. Like, you're trying to get live service money out of a single player game. Have you bumped your fucking head?
And that's exactly they really are trying to monetize this like it's a live service thing, but they've said that they're done. Like they developed the game, that's it. There's no like updates coming down the line. Nope. This is the game. That's it.
No. Hell no. Matter of fact, take it off of Steam. I ain't even gonna buy the game.
Poorly it performed.
I wish I could give it a review on Steam, but I'd have to buy it.
Yeah, that's true.
Twiz is like, get that shit out of here.
For real. Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
And I'd like to preface, Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I think it was kind of just goes back to, show, man, this is a time to be an indie dev. And not to mention, it's just, I feel like a lot of these, what used to be great devs and great, publishers and companies have completely fallen out of touch. We talk about it almost every episode, but it's just becoming more and more apparent.
It really is.
Man,
personally, I would love to walk up to the Dragon's Dogma fucking development team and ask them if they're slow or just fucking stupid.
Now, I don't honestly, this feels like it was more Capcom, the publisher, that forced it, because the game itself doesn't look like it has egregious things.
Okay, sure, maybe it is, but at the same time, you can't tell me that the developers themselves don't have some say in something.
A lot of the developers nowadays have the final say so in microtransactions, stuff like that. So, publishers. So Capcom would actually have the rights to whatever they want to monetize and shit like that.
Well, now, then as the developers, they should be all like, all right, we're not developing shit else.
Well, they can't. I mean, they can, but I think Capcom owns the Dragon's Dogma license. But
that's fine. I'm saying as the development team, because most developers are gamers themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Surely, if they didn't have something to do with this, they wouldn't want to be treated this way as a consumer. So just be all like, you know what? We will not be developing anything else for you, and we're gonna go look for another job. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Like,
I don't know if it's that easy to get a job
situation
these days.
Because I don't know, man. It's just rough because
I personally think it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You're beating the gaming community down into the ground. Most gamers don't have that kind of money to begin with. And you're trying to squeeze people for every single little dollar whenever you're going to a grocery store these days and 4 bags of groceries is costing you $150, and then you want to come home and enjoy a video game. On top of paying $70, you have to pay $42 more for the DLC on day one. No.
I mean, well said.
No.
I mean, one game is costing half the price of just getting essential groceries to get the full package game. We're not talking just like your typical $60 game. Like it feels like every
Yeah.
game is releasing unfinished unless
Oh,
you
yeah.
pay for the deluxe edition. I hate
Absolutely.
to say it. It's just
Absolutely.
bad.
Yeah. I think the word feature complete is becoming almost a relic of the past at this point.
It's dystopian.
Yeah.
When a video game is costing you as much or almost as much as your power bill, there's something wrong.
I
And
completely
you're not
agree.
even paying for like quality. You're literally paying for essentially an unfinished, unpolished turd.
Almost every time these days.
Yeah, I mean we've seen L after L from these AAA or quadruple A in Ubisoft's regard, right? You're just how much more FOPs do you have to have for you to understand that you can't keep milking the gaming industry like this? We're just not. It's not gonna go well. You spend, Ubisoft spent 140 million on Skull and Bones. I guarantee you they didn't make that money back. I guarantee you.
What are you talking about, Wassup? It's a quadruple A game.
Right, quadruple A, right. No, it's bullshit is what it is. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to realize this is not going to work. We want good games. Gamers want good games. It's so simple. It really is. You have Power World for, what is it, $30, right? That offers
$30.
a lot more already.
Helldivers 2 for $40. Lethal Company for $10. A game like Deep Rock
Galactic was
which is
on sale
made
for
by like a
$10.
small company for $10.
Yeah, and there's tons of content in that, and it's still being developed till this day.
And these games have satisfying gameplay loops, and you can co-op and all sorts of things.
Exactly, and it's not
You
buggy
get your
as
money's
hell.
worth.
Right.
Exactly. You have a team or even just one person like with Lethal Company and games like that just care about making a damn good game, a game that they are happy with as a gamer.
Exactly, and it shows. That passion shows. And as Twiz said, I will agree with him on this behalf. You can in partly blame the development team for the performance issues, which is a whole nother side of the coin here with Dragon's Dogma 2. The performance issues were so bad that essentially if you didn't have like top of the line specs like a 4090, for example, and like an i9 or something, you literally were crashing. Which even Asmongold has a 4090 and like a top of the line i9, whatever the current gen one is, 14900K, I think. Literally the best specs you can pretty much get, right? He crashed 4 times on a 1 hour stream. 4 times he crashed.
So he's crashing like every what?
Every
20 or,
20
every,
minutes
15,
or so.
Every like 15, 20 minutes.
Right. And it's like, this is a $7 game. You literally have someone with like top of the line specs. There's thousands of dollars, and they can't even run this game properly. So can you imagine most of the gamers that are playing?
It makes you wonder how it even got out of the studio. Like,
exactly right.
How were they testing this game if they were? That's
if that's a big
exists
if.
anymore,
Right.
Like how does this go unnoticed? Sure, everyone's hardware is different. That we can all agree on, but it's not to that point where the best specs in the world cannot run your game.
I mean, there's literally no more you can go up. Like, what else are you gonna?
There's nothing else you can do. Like, do you just go to fucking NASA?
Right. Just have an artificial intelligence computer fucking play it. But yeah, Twiz, what do you think about this? I mean, literally, we're having people with a 4090 struggle to play this game consistently and not crash constantly.
I think it's hot garbage. I think that it's.
Do you think this is a lack of leadership problem, or are we seeing like just a failure overall in developers, leadership, and publisher part?
I think it's everything on the board.
I think it's all of the above because I think that developers and publishers and stuff have lost their way in wanting to build, design, and release a good game, and instead is now running off the back of a game's, like, for example, this is Dragon Dogma 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you had Dragon Dogma 1, which was fairly successful. So they're running off the back of the original game's success and not even polishing the turd, giving you this nice steaming plate of fecal matter and expecting you to gobble it up, and it just being garbage all the way around. And then to add insult to injury, let's make more money on a single player game that has no live services, that has no extra DLCs, but we're going to offer $42 worth of
Day
DLC
one DLC.
on day one, and you know, like it or fuck off. I think they're all slower than smoke off of shit. Um, they're just fucking dumb.
And you do have some
I'm
people
tired.
defending it. So there are some people that are like, you know, none of the DLC is you don't need the DLC to play the game. You know, they don't have a problem with the game out of cities.
It's the premise of it, though. You
Yeah.
DLC defenders, look. Sorry to cut you off, but it's
No,
just
you're
like,
good,
dude. Like, if you don't have a problem with it, that's completely fine. But you have to admit that it does set a bad, you know, it sets a stereotype.
It
for
sets a
the
precedent,
game.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, sure, you may not need it to play, but the way it looks, the thing with those kind of microtransactions is they're alluring to somebody who doesn't have that time or wants that convenience. And that becomes a more common practice. We're seeing that with, you know, so many games now.
Yakuza.
Yeah, I mean, you know, shout out to Locke and, you know,
New Game Plus,
you know,
yeah.
a New Game Plus behind $20. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. You know, really, really, really setting the bar there for AAA game development.
Isn't
But
that
it's just
Capcom as well?
no, that's Sega.
Oh, sorry, no, it is Sega. You're my bad, my bad. Yeah, it's. I mean, Asmongold said this as well. Like this is almost not grooming us per se. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's trying to normalize this sort of thing so it can be worse and worse. Because now you have developers that are starting to purposefully remove content, right? So they can sell it back to you.
Exactly.
It's creating a problem so they can sell you a solution.
I want to say it started with Fallout 76, but no, it didn't. This has been going on for a while. It's it's bad. It's so bad, dude. Like, y'all gotta make that. I know y'all have to make your money as game developers. That's completely fine. I understand, dude. We all need to live. But these big companies need to understand getting an extra $5 here and there is not the play if that's how you're gonna do it. You have to cut that little bit of loss and just make a good product and keep making a good product.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Stop trying to be fucking penny pinchers with slimy, you know, methods.
And to anybody that wants to defend it, they are fucking. Their intelligence level is thinner than Kramer's hairline. Period.
Well, I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to defend their $70 investment, right? They don't want to have to spend. They want to have spent $70 on Dragon's Dogma 2 and be like, yeah, it's pretty garbage. I just wasted $70. You know, it's okay for you people to change your opinions. I hope that more people start realizing this. Like, sure, you got, but like, you don't have to defend it. You don't have to white knight it.
I mean, not even that, dude. If you like the game, that's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
That is okay. That's like the whole point. Like, we all have our own opinions.
Yeah.
But don't white knight something just because you spent money on it or because you entirely like it. Everybody has their own opinion, and let's be okay with that.
I can't stand people that just because they spent money on something that they're going to sit there and say that it's good or, you know, defend something or whatever. Look, I've spent good money on shit concerts that I thought would have been good.
Yeah, yeah.
After the concert, I did not tell it was the best thing ever. No, it was dog shit.
It was
the performer did not have a stage presence. Okay, don't waste your money. It's as simple as that. If you're going to go around and start defending shit just because you spent a little bit of money, then the problem is not only going to persist, it's going to get worse. And you're going to wind up spending more and more and more money on shit games. Period.
Yep.
100%, man. That's just, please don't fucking white knight these kinds of practices. That's all we ask from you guys. I get it. You spend money on something, that's completely fine.
And it makes
But
you wonder, like, are they getting away with this because, us, we're like early 2000s gamers, right? We're back in the age where you bought a CD, or you went to Family Video, you rented a game. That was the game. You got the whole game, feature complete, right? You played it, either you returned it, or that was, you play online or whatever. That was the games we grew up with, right? Whereas
bro, I bought Diablo 2 when I was a kid. I still play that shit to this day.
right, and that's a classic, right? And I feel like the further and further we go forward, the younger and younger generation is getting more and more used to these games that are launched pretty much 60% done, 70% done, and then the community has to finish the rest of it, right? Or they're being sold the conveniences that are taken out. So I just hope that this isn't a trend that we see continue, because it's they're trying to make it more and more normalized where it shouldn't be. So yeah,
I hope not, man. It's toxic. It's just a toxic relationship,
corrosive,
pretty
very
much. It's
corrosive
very
to
corrosive.
everything. Yeah, absolutely. An interesting new thing here, kind of deviating from gaming a little bit. Twiz, do you want to talk about this one a little bit? You suggested this.
Sure. So, following the UK suing suing Apple by alleging Apple charged third-party developers unfair commissions of up to 30% on purchases of apps or other content, the United States is now going to sue Apple in an antitrust lawsuit, basically claiming that Apple is maintaining a broad, sustained, and illegal monopoly over the smartphone market. So it's kind of interesting here. In this lawsuit, they're also alleging the um, the smartphone giant should be allowing third-party apps like messaging apps and stuff like that to be used as a primary messaging app.
Mm.
Basically just make Apple more like Android, which slippery slope here. My opinion, um, Apple is Apple because of these practices. Your security through iMessage is what it is because of their practices. That's not to say that you can't use WhatsApp, you can't use other third-party
Discord,
apps,
whatever it may be.
but you can't set them as your primary messaging app. Who gives a shit? I think that this is, in my opinion, I think that this is lawmakers trying to get involved in shit that they know nothing about. Um, we have a bunch of old and corrupt raisins on Capitol Hill that do not understand basic operations of a computer or smartphone, but yet they want to make legislation about it. And not to delve too far into politics, but this even extends to apps and what we're seeing with them trying to ban TikTok. Whenever they are looking at an app developer or an app's CEO and asking why this app needs access to Wi-Fi, get the fuck out of my face. Why are you making legislation about technology whenever you don't even know how it works? Get the fuck out of my face. Period. So,
Grandpa, you don't even know how to use the App Store. What do you want about?
right. Personally, I think that this lawsuit shouldn't have even been brought up, and it shouldn't go anywhere. Time will tell. But what's y'all's opinion on it?
Yeah, I kind of I see where they're coming from in terms of not wanting to be like a monopoly and stuff, and having that 30% flat fee for developers and stuff for apps and app purchases and stuff has been their thing for like ever now. I know, in fact, Epic Games had a whole debacle about this. Um, I actually thought you were talking about the
Well,
third-party
not
app
what
store. On
that's not what our government's going after. Our
Mm.
government's going after the monopoly that they hold, which is also a part of the app store. It's a much broader what our government's going after instead of it being kind of pinpoint
Oh, okay,
as to
okay,
what the UK went after.
okay.
So
I think that in itself is probably a reason this is not gonna go into the government's favor, and Apple probably will win this very easily. But um, I do think that it is app in the end. It's Apple's app store. They have created the app store. That is their app store. They're responsible for moderating it. So what is the monopoly here if you're the one that made it? Not everything has to have government control, right? So I don't.
they sure think it does. And that's the thing. I think that they're looking at it a little too broad because you have all of these Android companies that are different. You have Samsung, Google,
Huawei,
this
Xiaomi,
company,
yeah.
this company, that company
OnePlus,
that are
yeah.
all using the same thing.
Well, they're really not actually. With Android, you have different skins.
But you're all using the same Play Store.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Every single one of you are using the same Play Store. Apple's the only one that doesn't. And because Apple is so popular worldwide
Yeah.
over Android, this is where the US government's all like, oh, well, you have a monopoly. Okay, TIA McConnell, go sit down somewhere. Period. I'm really sick. Like, okay, for example, our government is going to get involved in a monopoly that a cell phone maker has. Meanwhile, they won't get involved in a monopoly that an internet company has. For where I'm from down south, the county that I'm from still has the same shit internet that it had 20 years ago. One company runs it. Period. That's the only part. That's the only company you can go through for internet. That's it. So
Yeah.
you're going to tell me that you're going to go after Apple and not go after something like that. You're going to tell me that you're going to go after Apple whenever we have inflation and inflation rates as high as they are. And like I just said earlier in this episode, 4 bags of groceries today cost me $150. But
So how
Apple's
does
the
this differ
problem.
from Android? I'm kind of confused as to why they're saying that Apple's App Store is a monopoly, but the Android Play Store isn't.
Because, all right. So the Android Play Store allows all these other companies to utilize that Play Store, whereas Apple does not allow any other company outside of
Oh,
Apple to
okay,
utilize their
okay.
Play Store without that 30%.
Okay, I see now. I see. Well, that's because Apple is the only manufacturer of iPhones.
Right.
Whereas Android, you like you said, you have Samsung, OnePlus, Xiaomi, Huawei, tons and tons, Google. So it's not really an
irritating.
apples to apples. It's really not.
Yep,
What'd you say?
it's
Irritating.
it's
Yeah.
irritating, and it just goes to show where our government and other governments have their priorities. Now, granted, the UK isn't facing as crazy of turmoil as we are, but our government right now, instead of tackling rising housing costs, rising
Yeah,
food
other
costs,
bigger issues, right?
rising
They're focusing
all
on
these
that.
other issues,
Mhm.
we're going to focus on Apple's bullshit monopoly and TikTok. That, in my opinion, is a slap in the face to everybody.
I agree with you, bro.
It's
Yeah.
not right.
Absolutely.
I think it's like you say, they're focusing on the wrong things.
I do
think
like
they're
that
just trying
the
to go for like an easy
UK.
win.
Oh, sorry. You like the what?
I said I think that they're just going for like an easy, like they think they're going for like an easy case. But it's like you say, it's something they know fuck all about. So
I
they're
don't
gonna
think
go
this is an
in.
easy case at all because Apple's legal
don't either.
team is one of the most fierce, most well bolstered legal teams in the world.
Exactly.
they've won against the U.S. government before. So, and
Exactly.
it was a much more easy case back when it was the case that they were fighting
I
than
mean,
this.
at the end of the day, what's going to happen whenever Apple's legal team gets in there and Marjorie Taylor Greene looks at them and says some conspiracy theory bullshit like fucking Jewish space lasers control the weather?
Right.
Oh.
They're gonna eat her alive
Look,
because
as far
she's
as
fucking stupid.
as far as it goes, it's all about like having like third-party app stores, right?
Yeah.
Look, I'm all for, open source and having, more options. But it's like Twiz said earlier, Apple security and all that's their bread and butter. That's what they're known for. You do that, they're not going to have really much of anything for them to have like, to be
Differentiating
different
factor.
differentiate from the competition.
Right.
Apple has a monopoly because people like Apple. All right. It's not like Apple's the only cell phone you can buy. No, you can go to any of these other cell phone companies. You can buy any of these other cell phones. The reason why people buy Apple phones is because they like Apple phones. Why do they like Apple phones? Because of the Apple ecosystem. Why do they like the Apple ecosystem? Because of the security. Why is the security there? Because of what the fuck Apple does. So why don't you let sleeping dogs lie before you get your fucking throat ripped out?
And this is interesting because Samsung, they have the same approach as Apple nowadays. Is they want to lock you into an ecosystem, right? Because they have the earbuds, they have the Samsung smart appliances, Samsung Dex, and the Samsung Watch, and it all works together so nicely. So what happens when Samsung starts to become kind of the new Apple, if they were to ever do that, right? In terms of people that solely want Samsung products, are they gonna try to do an antitrust lawsuit with Samsung now?
Probably.
I
And
don't know.
to be honest, if somebody needs an antitrust lawsuit between Apple and Samsung, it'd be fucking Samsung whenever they have their damn technicians coming out and cutting people's TVs to void a fucking warranty.
That's a good point. Absolutely, that's a good point. Right. I think I like the UK's approach with this in the sense that I feel like the UK is a lot more pro-consumer. Obviously, they forced.
Well, the UK basically said, no, you can't do 30%. You're going to have to cut that percentage down. All right.
Mhm.
They're cutting their percentage down. All is well and good.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say that they forced them to do the whole Type C connector, which is everyone was
Yeah.
asking for that because the Lightning port's very outdated, etc., etc.
Right.
But what they got out of it is they allowed third-party app stores, but it's not like everyone now has free reign, right? Apple still checks every single app that goes into the third-party app stores, so really not much has changed.
Which you also have to think, okay, that 30% that they were getting was mainly paying their people to check these apps to make sure that you're not downloading some old bullshit that's going to steal all your information. But
Which
either
and on the
way,
Android Play Store, there's a lot of apps like that.
so another thing in this antitrust lawsuit is it mentions the Apple Wallet, and they want to make it to where that not only can the Apple Wallet and Apple Pay be used on Apple phones, but any wallet and any pay can be used on Apple phones. I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that's right. I think it's an Apple device on the Apple ecosystem. It needs to be used with Apple Pay, Apple Wallet. You don't want to use Apple stuff, then fucking buy an Android. And that's
Now,
what 99.9% of people do. I think that this is a fictitious made up issue that our government's all like, "Oh, look at us, we're doing something," when they're not really doing anything.
I'd like to point out there's one caveat to that I think is actually a good counterpoint in the sense that if you have an Apple Card, you cannot pay it off or access any of the details on an Android phone. That I think they could do where they could allow you to access at least the information for your card, being able to pay it and stuff like that on Android and Apple phones. But that's about really the only part that I think that they should change.
But pretty much everybody these days has a computer. You can log into the
You
through.
can't access it through the computer. You have to have an Apple phone
Oh,
because it's through the
well, all
Wallet
right.
app. That's how it's
Then
done.
they should at least make it to where you can access it via a website.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
That's a pretty good. Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I'm sure that they would be willing to do that. Also because the Apple Watch is so popular. It's the most popular smartwatch on the market in the United States. Um, they want to make it to where the Apple Watch can be used on other devices, Android devices and stuff like that. And hey, my opinion, that's okay. That's fine, but that it's still Apple's tech. It should still be up to that company as to whether you can do this or not.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
I
I
agree.
personally,
Shouldn't
yeah,
our government shouldn't be stepping in and telling this is a slippery slope. I'm telling you now. Yeah,
right.
they're going after a giant right now. But what happens whenever mom and pops tries to make their own proprietary, a small company tries to make their own proprietary shit? And,
What do you
you know,
mean? Because there are small companies that proprietary stuff.
right, that's my point.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Well,
If this goes through with Apple, do you really think that the small companies stand a chance to keep their own proprietary technology
mhm,
in-house? No, they don't.
that's fair. I know actually Google Pay is getting shut down. It's being replaced by Google Wallet. So there goes that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's funny that Google Pay is being shut down and being replaced with a Google Wallet, and now our lawmakers, you see where this is going? Now our lawmakers want Apple to allow other wallets to be able to be used on their platform.
It's just a circle
Per-
jerk, man.
Personally, I think Google sent some lobbyists up to Capitol Hill and greased some palms to try to make, Apple come to heel.
It's very possible. What I what I think that will happen is that I don't think it'll go through because um, Apple's been in some hot water before with way bigger issues, and they haven't really faltered. And I think this is an easy case in the bag because it's so broad. And I think that's where, really honestly, the US government kind of fumbled it because the UK went for something very specific, and it was an extremely specific example. The US is broadening it way too much where they have way too much to prove, and Apple will very quickly be able to shut that down, in my opinion. Um, but it's like you said. I think the company should ultimately have that decision if they are the ones that produced the software and developed it and is actively developing it. Um, you know, third-party app stores are allowed in the UK. They still go through Apple's moderation team and they still check them. So it is what it is. I think iMessage is a very, 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 very big attraction to iOS and the whole Apple ecosystem. That's one of the main features I think people honestly stick with iPhones for, because it's secure, like you said. It's pretty intuitive, very quick. RCS is good. It's starting to approach iMessage, sure, but RCS I think still has a lot of time to go. In case you guys didn't know, RCS is like the Android / open source version of iMessage, if you will. Stuff like that. So not only that, but not all the companies have adopted RCS yet. So it is what it is. But yeah, I don't. This is something I don't think the government really needs to be involved in. I think this is more of a company sort of thing, not really a political / government sort of thing. And I don't really see the need for this. But maybe it's, as you've been said, maybe this is just one big circle jerk and it's just busy work, if you will.
Man, all I gotta say is I wish the amount of effort that these, government officials and law people put into this kind of shit would go towards something like right to repair. That's all
Yeah.
I gotta say, man.
Yeah. All right. Absolutely.
Something that would actually benefit like the consumer.
There's hundreds of things that they could be doing. You know, there's right to repair. There's, like I've said,
Tons and tons of
inflation.
other things, right?
There's the auto industry. There's the housing market. There's, you know,
There's groceries,
much bigger fish to
there's
fry.
there's Americans that are on the streets with no places to live, nothing to eat. You know, there's a lot of shit that's messed up, and instead of going after Apple, you should, and TikTok, you should be worried about other things.
Like much more important problems, right?
And at the very least, if you're gonna at least go after some bullshit like this, at least do your homework, man. That's all I ask. At least do your homework before you go after some shit you know pretty much nothing about.
Which, if we go back
Which
to the
they
whole
failed to do.
Facebook thing, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was rough to watch. I mean, that was really rough to watch. Yeah.
Well, Facebook, I thought that was rough to watch. I've literally been watching this TikTok thing now for the past couple of years, because every time there's a new TikTok ban, they're bringing these guys in, the CEO and stuff, and the questions that they ask is just so fucking dumb. It's like, what? Did you really just ask this man that?
Right.
Seriously, you are one of the lawmakers for the most powerful country on the planet, and you're asking these dumbass questions. Really? It's insane. It's insane, and it goes to show these corrupt raisins need term limits.
Yep. Well, without getting too political, is there anything else we want to add on here?
No, I think that about says it.
I think we got it, man. I think that's, you know, you'll have that episode number 10.
Double digits, guys. We finally made it to the double digits.
We finally made it.
We got
We're gonna make
Jaboom
it
back,
up there.
and we hit the double digits.
It was the episode to have me back. I was on the bench, you know, I was bench warming. I don't
He
think that's
was
the proper
number
term.
one.
I was number one. Smitty Werber Jaegerman Jensen, number one.
Yep. Well,
But hey,
I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Unfortunately, we didn't have Noah today, but I think he was busy. But he'll be back, I'm sure, in chat. To those that have been watching and been listening on Spotify, thank you so much for the support. If you're new, welcome. You can find us on YouTube if you're on Spotify at Wasapi. And then if you're on YouTube, you can also search us on Spotify and you will find the podcast there. I would like to thank everyone for watching again. And Twisted and Jaboom, you guys.
You'll have that.
You will have that. Absolutely. And we do have some more content coming soon. A little bit of trailer reactions and stuff like that. So keep on the lookout on the YouTubes. And everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening.
y'all stay safe and have a great night.
Night.